Wow, what a great question. Why do you hate the world so much?
Oh yeah, it's perfect for the villains.
You know, they didn't say it exactly, but I'm sure they were like, oh, that looks kind of funky. They don't look very fierce doing that, so we'll tweak that.
Wow, this is very serious. Like you mentioned, significant other.
That's like, you know, maybe down the line. Essentially, like my chronic illnesses and things kind of, I think, were activated in New Zealand. But at least you'll have that trust in yourself that, like, I've got me. I've got my own back. Like, we can do this. It's gonna be okay. That was fun, too, because I felt like that was the first little nugget that helped me, like, get to know Zoe and know kind of what direction I wanted to take her in.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Once and Always a Fanboy with me, your host, Chris Cantada Force. When she was first announced as the new Yellow Ranger for Power Rangers Beast Morphers at Power Morphicon, I actually ran into her by total coincidence because we were staying on the same floor at the hotel. And just a few days later, I got to interview her for the first time for my channel. Then fast forward a bit, during Beast Morphers Season 2, Hasbro reached out and I got to chat with her again, this time alongside her castmates. And now, here we are, interview number 3. But this time, it's not about morphing or monsters, it's about a brand new chapter in her life. She's gone from actress and superhero to author with her new journaling book, Coming Home Journal, which helps people reconnect with themselves in the most personal and mindful way. So let's catch up and talk about everything that's happened since the Grid Battleforce days. Fangirls and fanboys, Jacqueline Scislowski! Yay! Welcome.
Thank you so much for that nice introduction.
Oh, you're welcome. You're very welcome. Like, aside from these interviews, I said, we did a lot together throughout the years. Like, in the course, even in the pandemic, you know, trying to live life as normally as possible. We shot a few, like a skit in that Ranger Rumble thing we did. And now interview number 3. So, glad you were game to make more content with me.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I know it's been like so long, so I was very thankful that you wanted to talk about the books. It's so different from anything we've talked about before.
Yes, for sure. And yeah, I just want to catch up again. It's been a long time, and I haven't been, you know, hiding this aspect, but I've also, you know, kind of reinvent myself in a way again. You know, we're not just one thing, right? So it's amazing seeing you just grow into something totally brand new and something that you're totally passionate about, and I'm so for it, and that's why you're in Once and Always a Fanboy.
Oh yeah, no, I just off of that, like, it's so cool to see you as well doing the music and the podcast, the interviewing. I mean, I think it's so important to change as you change, to go and explore different things and listen to whatever you're feeling pulled towards. So yeah, I think that's so cool that you also did the same thing.
So let's go back a bit, just for the, you know, for the hardcore OG fans, back to when yellow was your go-to color.
It still is, by the way. I still love pale yellow.
You've probably done the Power Rangers morph more times than you can count. But do you remember the first time you practiced it off camera? Do you remember how it made you feel? Like, was it a mixture of silly and awesome at the same time? Like, what do you remember back in the early days?
Yeah, sure. I probably shouldn't admit this because I feel like fans will be hounding me, but I'm like, I haven't done it in so long that sometimes I need to like brush up on it. And the other day I was like in my kitchen randomly, and my parents could attest to this. I was like, wait, what? Like, what? And I was like stuck in a loop. So I need to do it more, I think is what that means, because I'm losing it. No, but back to when we were first learning it, I do remember because I have a video of us doing it the first time, me, Rory, Jazz. It was so fun. It was so surreal because we were watching them create it in lifetime. So it was just, you know, watching the stunties piece it together, figure out the movements, how it correlates with our season, how we looked doing it, you know, switching things if we didn't look quite right doing it. So,
oh, cool. So there were some things that you were kind of suggesting in a way, maybe little details that could.
I don't know that we suggested anything because we were so new. So we were like, whatever you think. But I think they just kind of worked off of us, meaning like, oh, you know, they didn't say it exactly, but I'm sure they were like, oh, that looked kind of funky. They don't look very fierce doing that. So we'll tweak that. But Yeah, it was that the first time we did the ha, so powerful. I just remember like the echo because we were in this gymnasium. That was like just adrenaline.
So yeah, these sets are known to be quite chaotic in the best way. Was there ever a moment on set where something unplanned happened that ended up making the scene actually better? I mean, you've been in this show for 2 seasons. There's probably one that was like, oh, that was a happy accident.
Ooh, that is a great question. I feel like, I don't know if it was exactly the same, but I remember the first episode when I went to go introduce myself to Jazz and Rory's character, and we were in Grid Battleforce. And I think I was like joking around with them because they shook hands, and I was like, well, I feel really left out in this scene then if I don't get to shake their hands. And then I think, if I remember correctly, I think I just kind of was doing this as a joke, like that I would shake their hands like that, and then they ended up using it. So I would say that's probably the one I would remember, and that was fun too because I felt like that was the first little nugget that helped me like get to know Zoe and know kind of what direction I wanted to take her in. So
yeah, you filmed in New Zealand, which is basically Middle Earth for Power Rangers. What was your favorite off-camera ritual or escape while living there? Because I remember I went there for the first time, and then I actually texted you like, what's a good like burger spot, or where do you guys film? So I remember being such in awe of the beauty of not just Auckland but in Queenstown. And I'm sure during breaks you got to fly back and forth, right? So do you remember a favorite hangout or escape by yourself or even with the cast?
It was such an interesting time because that was the first time I'd ever been out on my own. Like I was freshly 18, so I had not ever experienced like living on my own or like essentially taking care of myself completely on my own. So it was the weirdest experience for me to figure out what to do outside of work unless it was like with the group or something because I just wasn't used to it. I got addicted to coffee when I was out there. That was like my favorite thing to go do was look for coffee shops. I think it was like something club, the coffee club or something that like I would go there probably every day that I had free or like on my off day. I liked becoming like a local like regular at different coffee shops. And then exploring wise, I mean, yeah, like you said, just taking like super long walks through the city, trying to go take little like day trips places. Colby and I feel like we're really good about that, and Abraham, like we would go just explore different parts. We would try a lot of restaurants as a group. We didn't have too many like breaks or long extended weekends and things. I think maybe we had like 2 or 3, and like 2 of those I think was like for Christmas, so like we pretty much everybody flew home, but like some people came back early to do some adventuring, and those were like the most prized weekends because that's when like Colby and Abraham and we flew to the South Island, and it was just, that stuff is like unforgettable. The barbecue bus tour and like Milford Sound and all these things, like that's where, and going to the Hobbits where they filmed, like those things are seared into my brain, and also like what contribute to me feeling like what version of my life was that? Like it feels like such a different like life and world that I was in. So yeah, it was a little bit scattered all over of what we tried to do. We definitely also went out dancing, so that was really fun to go out dancing for the first time in my life. Yeah.
After Rangers, you were in a couple of acting projects as well. But was there a specific moment that made you say, okay, I think I'm ready to step back from acting and focus on something else?
So once I came back from New Zealand, so kind of like behind the scenes, I essentially like my chronic illnesses and things kind of I think were activated in New Zealand. So when I came back, I had a lot of health struggles that I was not used to. I wasn't aware of what they were, what was going on with me. I was having a lot of just like different things that I'd never experienced before. So while I was in New Zealand, I was doing a lot of my own research and digging into what the heck could be going on with me. And then when I came back, the momentum of acting just kept going. So it kind of was just like, okay, this is going on, but just going to keep going forward because I'm busy. Things are happening. I got new representation. I was on my own again in LA trying to make this all work. Then I got the few projects and basically everything just started snowballing. Like the momentum was really picking up. Things were really exciting. We were getting ready for the Kids' Choice Awards. That was like a huge thing for us. I know I was so excited. I was like, this is crazy. This feels like just another level that I never imagined kind of getting to. And then COVID hit, like I think a week right before we were supposed to go, or even, yeah, I think it was a week before. And the world just like shut down. So I think like a lot of people, it just like, it made your life pause. And for me, it was kind of like, I think a good sign from the universe that like I got kind of a second where I was like, okay, you don't have work piling up. You can take a second to be with yourself, pay more attention and get to the bottom of what's going on medically. And that's kind of just like when I felt like I could take a breath. And I started reflecting on my health and just my life. And I think like everybody, especially when you grow up doing something, you love doing it for whatever reasons, but as you grow, like those reasons might change or evolve or shift. And I just kind of started taking a closer, deeper look as to like, okay, why am I in this industry? Why am I doing what I'm doing? Do I love it? Do I love it for the right reasons? Is it filling my cup? Is it draining my cup? So just, all these things, whereas like you're 18, you're 19, you're thinking about your life, the world, and where you want to be, what you want to do. So honestly, that pause was just the first thing that sparked it. And I was like, okay, you know what? I think there's other passions in me. And I don't know if the industry is filling my cup entirely how I want it to. So I'm going to take a step back while I have the time and space. I'm going to go back to school since that was always my plan to somehow one day fit in college. Now I actually had a better idea of what I wanted to study because I wasn't really sure, but I was like, I definitely want to study psychology and like the body or nutrition or something like that. So it just all kind of fell together, I feel like, in a way that it needed to.
So thanks for sharing that. We have no right to know anything about anyone's private life, but thanks for sharing. I had no idea. How's your health? Everything is okay?
Good. It's nothing serious, nothing to be concerned about. I have an autoimmune disease, Hashimoto, and then I've got a few other things that I'm juggling, but you know what? I like to talk about it now because honestly, I feel like health and holistic health is such an under-talked about topic, and there's just so many products and supplements and regimes and self-care and things out there that like it's very overwhelming. And I think there's a lot of people, every single female I specifically talk to has some sort of gut issues, hormonal issues, like things that just they don't know why they are the way that they are, and it seems to be something that just like hasn't been pinpointed yet. And that was kind of my journey. I didn't even find out, I wasn't able to find like a label for some of the things that I've been dealing with until 2 years ago. So it's like you kind of learn as you go, and now I just like to kind of talk about it, to share the experience, to see, if anybody else is struggling with it. I'm also it's a huge passion of mine now, holistic medicine and just the mind-body experience and connection stuff. So I feel like it's important to talk about those things.
So you said you went back to school, right? How is that like? How is that form of, I guess, anonymity in a way? Or were there people shouting, "It's morphin' time"?
You know what? I feel like I have been very fortunate to be so incognito. Like, it's really very rare, and I think still to this day, I've only been recognized maybe twice. Otherwise, it's kind of like a thing I just kind of kept on the DL until it kind of came out eventually. So a lot of times in school, like, it would eventually come out, and people would give me a hard time, like, how did you not say anything? Or why didn't you say anything? But that was kind of fun for me. I liked to just keep the low profile and not advertise it unless it came up. And it was pretty fun, and it still is entertaining when people finally find out and then they've got all the questions or they feel betrayed by me for not saying anything. So it was nice. I feel like I am fortunate and I am thankful that as big as Power Rangers is, it's not one of those projects that like really gets you noticed and like swarmed by people or anything like that. So I think it's been really nice.
So you went from saving the grid as a Power Ranger to now helping people reconnect with themselves through journaling. How did that shift happen? Like, what was your own real life hero's journey that led to writing Coming Home Journal?
As you gain more experience, which my experiences are still super, small in terms of I'm, only in my 20s, but I feel like it's just as you keep living, things happen, you start to be affected by them, you start to gravitate towards certain things, your life's story kind of starts to accumulate and write itself. And after college, that was probably the most daunting time, because now I was like, oh my gosh, like, I've finished college, now what? Like, I have to make a decision. I don't know yet what I want to do. I've got all this knowledge, but what do I want to do with it now? Where do I want to live? What do I want to do? And it was a time of like a lack of grounding, because I felt like everything was up in the air and I wanted something to bring me back down, to make me feel like, okay, no matter what, I want to feel connected to myself because everything's so up in the air. The world is my oyster, but I don't know what to do with it yet. So I want to feel like connected to myself throughout it. And letting go of acting, I was like, okay, I kind of miss some creativity. I miss the kind of whimsical nature of it. And I do still want those aspects in my life. So I just started thinking about, okay, what do I truly think about every single day? What do I get excited about when somebody brings it up or I start to talk about it? And I was like, well, psychology. I don't necessarily want to become a therapist, but I know I love that topic. I love philosophy. I could talk about those things for hours. I love reflection. I love getting to know myself. I love knowing why people are the way that they are, connecting those dots, like explaining the intricacies. And then I was like, okay, I travel for different cons. I do all this stuff. It's kind of this free-floating experience. And I realized, what do I carry with me? My journal. It's just a blank one, but I'm like, this is something that's very grounding. I can almost essentially talk with myself because I can go back to different journal entries, see kind of what I was talking about, check in with myself, get to know patterns. And I've always been one that loves to go into Paper Source and all those cute little shops and look at all the self-help journals. And I buy a lot of them, but then they sit on my bedstand and I'm like, okay, why is that? I love these. I want to engage with them, but then for some reason I buy them and then I don't use them. So all these thoughts kind of came together and I was like, you know what? I really want to do something that's for myself. I want to feel like I've got some control over my future and things, because right after college, it's like, okay, what 9-to-5 job am I going to get? And that's a little soul crushing to me because I'm like from such a different world of acting that doing a 9-to-5 is a little bit like terrifying to me. I have worked a couple, but it's too much sitting at a desk for me. So I was like, how can I, one, have reality and an income, and two, have something that's filling me up and something that could eventually maybe develop into something bigger down the line. And I was like, you know what? I want to create a journal. I've got on my vision board that like I want to become the woman I've always dreamt of being. And I think that woman would be somebody who wrote a book and created something from start to finish that she knew nothing about and figured it out completely on her own. And I was like, this is going to be a big task for me. I like to jump ship quickly. I have a short attention span. I like a variety of things. I like there to be excitement. So to follow through with something so tedious of writing, creating, and, running into obstacles and challenges, I was like, this is going to be a big feat for me. And if I come out the other end of it with a finished product, I just know it's going to be such a great feeling for me, and like I'll feel like the things I put on my vision board came to fruition. So really I just was like, I want to finish it. Whether I do anything with it, I want to do this for me. I want myself to feel like I would use this and do use it. And then, worst case, I'll put it out and see if anybody else seems to see any value in it and benefit from it. So when I finished it, I was like, okay, I made this exactly how I wanted it to be. I'm not making it to be the most marketable thing, or, I'm not thinking in the business sense, but I'm like, I feel like this was truly an authentic just pouring of me and what I hope people can also experience with getting to know themselves, getting more compassionate towards ourselves. And if, you have chronic illnesses or things like that, being able to accept and understand, oh, I work like this because of these things. Let's figure out how to best manage that and work with that, and how we can still feel amazing and purposeful in our everyday life.
For anyone hearing about this for the first time, especially, I guess, I can speak for myself. It wasn't part of my growing up. Like, what is Coming Home Journal all about? Like, yours specifically?
Even though I feel like it's a part of the self-help category, I see it more of like it's your experimentation book. It's your book to take down notes and study yourself. It's not like you can use it however you want, but it's more of like, I think of it in two different ways. One, it's like a mirror for yourself to be able to analyze, study yourself, notice things about yourself. But then also it's kind of like growing up, if you had a favorite blanket or you had a stuffed animal or something that just brought you comfort and like didn't talk back to you, but it was able to serve as like a container for all your emotions and thoughts, and it didn't judge you. So it's kind of something that's just there for you. And I think it's just a way to get to know yourself better, understand more than just the broad idea of like, I have a brain, I have emotions, but like, where do those come from? Why are some days this way, but other days you feel this way? Do you feel like you're different in some ways from a lot of people? And what might you need or never considered that you might need to help support your everyday functioning that doesn't maybe necessarily align with the majority of people? So it's really more of a space, and it's designed very whimsically because that's just kind of how I feel, and I like to feel connected to like youth and just the childlike wonder and innocence and just kind of carefree compassion that you would have towards yourself. But truly the actual meat and bones of it is just kind of your space to just learn about yourself and garner a sense of compassion, because there's some things where like I guide you through things. There's guided prompts that kind of help you, but they're not just like, how do you feel today? What has your day been like? It's more intentional. It's asking if you gave yourself grace in the day, if you were kind enough to yourself, what might not you have been, what's going to be challenging for you, why should you get over that, or how can you get through it? So it's more of like less of a Dear Diary and more of a let's study the human experience and specifically yours. So yeah, that's kind of the intention behind it.
So since this show is called Once and Always a Fanboy, I always like to ask, what are you currently fangirling over at this moment? Like, are you binge watching anything?
I am so happy you asked this question. I have a very specific answer. Dancing with the Stars. Chris, if you ever interview Robert Irwin, I hope that you can do a homegirl a favor and put a good word in for me.
I've been seeing some videos of him.
He's always been a sweetheart, and like seeing him now, I tell you, I am not one to slide into DMs. I am not one to like have celebrity crushes. I admire people, I admire their work, but I've never in my life had even remotely a thought of like, I have to find a way to connect with this individual. And I like right now, today it's on. Right after we're done with this, I'm going downstairs. I'm going to watch it. I was in tears last week when when it was the dedication night. And I'm just like, wow, what a astonishing, amazing, beautiful human being. So that's who I've been fangirling about, because I'm like, if there's a will, there's a way, and hopefully somehow the world is smaller than we think and we'll connect, because I think there might be something there.
Amazing.
He's crushing it. And when I tell you, the thing I value most in a significant other is dancing. It doesn't have to be great ability, but it just has to be a desire to dance. And this man is just killing it. And he's just a bundle of energy and joy. And he's had not a lick of dance experience, and he's crushing it. Like, I mean, he looks great doing it. He's got good rhythm. Like, he's loving what he's doing. If he doesn't win, I'll be very, very shocked.
Wow, this is very serious. Like you mentioned, significant other.
That's like, maybe down the line. But like an introduction, just to see if there's the vibe, is all I need. That's all I'm asking for. And then if things, if things are clicking.
I'll do my very best to see what I can do on my end.
I appreciate that.
Bringing it back to like journaling and Power Rangers, I'm curious. If the Power Rangers had to use journaling as a way to deal with their stress from fighting monsters, what kind of questions or prompts would you give them? Like, what kinds of reflections or entries do you think a Power Ranger would benefit from?
Wow, what a great question. Well, I know for certain Zoe would be all over journaling, especially with the whole beginning of starting in the laundry, moving her way up. She's a girl that has affirmations at the ready so that she does not stray from her goal. I would say Ravi would probably benefit from some, like, I feel like he had a lot of pressure on him from his mom, from expectations, things to live up to, then dealing with the Roxy thing. He could use some, am I giving myself enough grace today? Have I been kind enough to myself, or was I being a little too ruthless or hard? What kinds of things are coming up for you? How might you work through them? And then also just having that safe space to do some doodles, to do his drawings, to have a safe space where he can reflect on what he used to do and, the days where he felt really passionate about it. And then Rory's character, maybe a space to get grounded and relax a little bit and take a breather and just like feel connected to himself. I feel like everybody would have a different way, I think, to utilize the journal. Scrozzle would need it for sure, and Evox. Why do you hate the world so much? Oh
yeah, it's perfect for the villains.
Yeah.
What's something you've learned about, self-compassion or mindfulness that you wish you knew earlier in your career? And do you think it would have changed the outcome of your decision to step back from acting?
I've come to notice, I think something that's super important is deciphering what brings you confidence and what that looks like for you. And for me, I learned that I gained confidence and just self-assurance through knowledge, through understanding, again, myself, understanding the human body, understanding different health things, just getting more knowledge about whatever it is that I'm doing. And that helps me get feel self-assured in whatever it is that I'm doing and why I'm the way that I am, so that it doesn't feel so much of trying to, get validation from others, but you have that internal validation and sureness of yourself. So I think such a crucial thing just for everybody is being able to garner a sense of like safety and validation and compassion for yourself, even on your hardest days, instead of relying on others. I think it's great to have people in your circle, and it is very important, but also when those people might not be there, to be able to provide that for yourself. I think because of how much I moved around with the industry, you have these families for a set amount of time when you're on set, that those people become your family, but you can't always rely on everybody else to be able to be there for you in the ways that you might need. And sometimes, that can be really difficult, and that could be very isolating or lonely if nobody's able to understand you. But you know what? If you can figure that out for yourself, at least at the end of the day, you'll always be there for yourself. Hopefully others will be there too, but at least you'll have that trust in yourself that like, I've got me. I've got my own back. Like, we can do this. It's going to be okay. People might not understand, but I understand. Like, that's all that matters. So I don't think that would have changed my decision. because I really think that everything happens the way that it does for a reason. And I'm so thankful to acting and everything. And it still is such a magical part. And like, full disclaimer, little insider tea, I'm currently taking an acting class. And it's just for fun. And it's been a way of like connecting with that part of me that still is very real. But now I'm like, this is just a little side hobby to fill that cup when I need it. But I don't think it's my life's work. And it's definitely doesn't completely align with who I now am and what I want to do in my life. So yeah, I think everything happens for a reason, and it's a part of what led me to where I am now.
So you've been part of a franchise that means so much to people, as you know. What's it like reconnecting with fans now that you're in a totally new chapter of life?
Well, honestly, I was so pleasantly surprised again, and this is where my love comes to all these followers, that they have welcomed every different turn I've made, that they're just excited to be a part of the ride, to be witnessing what I'm doing next. And yeah, they still like to see some Power Rangers things, and they want to, know I haven't lost sight of that history. But everybody's been so kind and welcoming and open to all the things that I've been doing. So it's, I owe it to them for being that way. I appreciate it so much because, I think, the Instagram break and off of social media, it was just, again, like kind of just severing those ties to fully allow myself the space to rediscover what I want to do, who I am, all those things again. And so I was really appreciative for the people who stuck around through that because, I just wanted the space. I wanted to feel what it was like, and I also was still figuring out what I wanted to do, who I was, what I wanted to contribute. And it got to a place where I kind of was posting dancing and funny things. It turned from doing it because it was impulsive and I wanted to like, oh shoot, people really want to see that. I've got to post it. I haven't been posting it for a while. I'm busy with school. And then I was like, oh, I don't want to be like resentful or angry or upset doing something that I used to love. So I was like, let me just separate myself and then take some time, figure things out. And like now I do a combination and I focus on my book, and it doesn't feel so like giving all of myself all the time. But now it's just in the nuggets and in the ways that feel most aligned with me right now. And like, I filmed the promo for the book with my Power Rangers, my Jacks, and I was like, this is great. I feel so happy. And so it's nice to revisit those things.
And that's it, Jacqueline Scislowski. You've journeyed through the once and always a fanboy galaxy and lived to tell the tale. But before we power down, any final message for your fans watching right now?
Well, I love you guys. Again, I just appreciate you guys sticking around and hopping along for the journey. And thank you to those who have ordered. I mean, I think my first 15 orders were like Power Rangers fans. So you guys are amazing. And I'm so happy that you guys are taking a chance on this new endeavor that I've taken on. And yeah, thanks for sticking around. I hope you stick around for longer to see where else these things take me and what's next on the horizon. Yes, so this is coming home. It has a month's worth of templates where you can write in your thoughts and things with the different prompts and things like that. And then there's weekly themes and activities. There's quotes, there's affirmations. There's even a copy of my own personal journal, which I just copied and pasted straight from my archives. Did not edit it, so you can find that on cominghomejournal.com, and you can follow me, Jacqueline Scislowski, on Instagram. You can also follow the journal, Coming Home Journal, on Instagram, and yeah, that's where you can find it. The links are in all the pages, but they will be available on cominghomejournal.com.
Yay! Awesome. Thank you so much for your time, Jackie. I'm so glad we got to reconnect in a different era of both our lives. Congratulations on your journey, your growth, you learning more about yourself, you finishing school. I mean, you've done so much since the first time I met you in that hotel corridor, and I'm very, very proud of you, and I can't wait to see what other things you're going to be up to. So thank you so much for your time.
Well, thank you so much, and I appreciate you too sticking around for all these different chapters of my life, and I look forward to always seeing what you're up to as well. So, and literally the singing blew my mind. I was like, there's no way this is his voice. You have a beautiful voice, a man of many talents.
Thank you so much.
Yes, so shout out to that.